Right friends, welcome back to Learning Space. This is mock or model test series, paper number 3, part 1, and these 36 questions are framed by me. They are from current affairs as well as economy. First one, Pakistan recently said it is restricting its airspace for flights from India subsequent to Balakot airstrikes. In this context, such type of questions are expected. Students should have clear idea about various destinations, Mumbai to various destinations. In this question, Mumbai to Moscow, Mumbai to Tehran, Delhi to Djibouti, Delhi to Jeddah, and if Pakistan blocks the airspace, all these flights have to take longer routes. So that's why all of the above is correct. And to answer such type of questions, what is important is students should have clarity about various important destinations in the world map where they are situated, right? Just have a glance at the western destinations. Such type of question may be expected in the prelims of UPSC. Look at the second one. I have taken this question because these are into the news. One is Chagos Islands. Chagos is the place where Diego Garcia, the naval base of United States of America, is situated. Please do not forget, Chagos Islands is the disputed islands between United Kingdom and Mauritius. This is into the news recently. Second, the location of number 2 is Agaleka Island. Agaleka is under the sovereignty of Mauritius. And please don't forget, India is going to develop some facilities here. And please do not forget, these are all in the Indian Ocean region. 3, this is also quite often into the news. This is Reunion Island and Reunion Islands. These are under the sovereignty of France, don't forget. And 4 is this Assumption Island under the sovereignty of Seychelles. India is expected to develop some facilities here, but that government backtracked in the last moment. Friends, these 4 locations are very important because these are into the news. These are all in the Indian Ocean region. When one looks at Indian Ocean region, the locations of Chagos Islands, Agaleka Islands, Reunion Islands, Assumption Island, these are important. Friends, just have a glance at the map. Look at the next one. These are into the news. Before going ahead, I already told you about Eastern Peripheral Expressway, Western Peripheral Expressway, that is around Delhi to ease pollution in Delhi. At the same time, don't forget the Mumbai-Ahmedabad high-speed rail, or you can say bullet train between Mumbai and Ahmedabad. At the same time, cluster-based coastal economic zone that is coming up in Maharashtra. Coastal economic zones are part of Sagarmala, don't forget. At the same time, Mumbai to Delhi expressway that is passing through 6 states. We already deliberated in the previous paper, right? And 2 industrial corridors, they are coming up in Uttar Pradesh and Tamil Nadu. We are talking about defense industrial corridors. 2 defense industrial corridors are coming up in Uttar Pradesh as well as in Tamil Nadu, don't forget. Please look at this information now. Here, world's largest river island, that is Mazuli in river Brahmaputra, right? And India's longest road tunnel, Chenani Nashri, on the national highway between Jammu and Srinagar. This is in Jammu and Kashmir. Then India's longest river bridge, that is the bridge Bhupen Hazarika Bridge, that is in Assam, don't forget. Then it is on Lohit river. Lohit is the tributary of Brahmaputra. Then India's longest road cum rail bridge, Bogibeel Bridge, that is also in Assam, don't forget, right? So 2 is the odd one out here. 1, 3 and 4 is the right option. Look at the next one. Electronic nicotine delivery systems. India banned manufacture, sale and import of this electronic nicotine delivery systems. But recently the Commerce Ministry asked Health Ministry, please bring a legislation, otherwise it is not possible to ban the import of electronic nicotine delivery systems. Please don't worry, electronic nicotine delivery systems example is e-cigarettes, right? Let us look at this. Please don't forget, India banned manufacture, sale and import of electronic nicotine delivery systems. But now Commerce Ministry raised some observation with regard to banning the import of electronic nicotine delivery systems, right? Having learned this, here both normal cigarettes and e-cigarettes contain nicotine up to this extent, absolutely correct. And the next statement you see, e-cigarettes contain insignificant quantities of nicotine, absolutely wrong. Sometimes e-cigarettes contain more quantity of nicotine than the normal cigarettes, right? Please correct the first statement. Second one is, the principle of e-cigarettes is heating the liquid to higher temperatures to produce aerosols, right? It is to heat the liquid to higher temperatures, right friends? Second statement is correct. Electronic nicotine delivery systems, these are not approved under the Drugs and Cosmetics Act, right friends? Lot of discussion with regard to the plus and minuses of e-cigarettes across the globe going on. Number of countries banned e-cigarettes, right? And now India banned the manufacture, sale and import. And with regard to imports, of course, the Ministry of Commerce raised some queries to Health Ministry, right? So friends, 2 only is correct here. Look at the next one. These are the controversial additives. These are the controversial additives, right? And the first one, monosodium glutamate. The case is going on. Monosodium glutamate, it can be natural, it can be added artificially to improve the flavor of the food products, right? And Maggi is into the news, or you can say Nestle is into the news because of MSG. Then formaldehyde, this is into the news. In one of the states in our country, formaldehyde was found in baby shampoo. Johnson & Johnson denied this, and across the world there are concerns with regard to Johnson & Johnson hide asbestos powder presence in the talcum powder, right friends? These are into the news. So therefore such type of question is expected, all of the above, right? Asbestos powder contamination in baby talc powder, then formaldehyde, baby shampoo, then monosodium glutamate, Maggi, Nestle product, don't forget. This is into the news because of recent Supreme Court decision. We already deliberated in the revision classes. Look at the next one. In the context of South Korea and United States of America launching 5G services, right friends? 5G is the important thing. It is the backbone of Internet of Things, right friends? Various instruments, various mechanical instruments will be interconnected with your smartphone. That is nothing but Internet of Things, right? So 5G is the backbone of Internet of Things. Then millimeter wave spectrum. Many of you might have heard about long-term evolution or LTE. LTE is nothing but it is the technology for 4G. Most of you are well aware. And now people are talking about millimeter wave spectrum. Millimeter wave spectrum is used normally for 5G, not for 4G. Please correct the statement, right? And the next important statement is 5G increases data speeds. Absolutely correct. For any network, what is important? For any network, data speed should be high, latency should be less. Very important point. With the 5G, data speeds will be increased enormously, and latency, time lag, delay in sending the information, that will be reduced, right? So this makes number of applications actual, or you can say this results in number of applications implementation because of high speeds, lower latency. Please correct the last statement, right? So here 1 only is correct. Please correct second and 3. Please don't forget about millimeter wave spectrum, which is normally used for 5G. Second important point, 5G increases data speeds, but most important is it reduces latency or time delay or time lag. Look at the next one. all the multinational companies with the presence in India can donate money to the political parties. Absolutely wrong. Here, the companies whichever are having presence, or you can say the multinational companies, are, to be specific, foreign companies having the majority stake in Indian companies. Very important. Foreign companies having majority stake in Indian companies can donate funds to the political parties. Please correct the first statement. Foreign companies having majority stake in Indian companies, they can donate, right? And political parties have to disclose the name, address or pawn details of a donor if the value of the donation exceeds rupees 20,000. Please differentiate. Cash donations are accepted only up to rupees 2,000. Cash donations up to rupees 2,000. But the details of the donors are to be revealed only if the donation exceeds rupees 20,000. These two things, please don't forget. Many students may confuse 2,000 and 20,000. Cash donations are applicable only up to rupees 2,000, whereas the details of the donors are to be made known once each donation exceeds rupees 20,000. Right, friends? Neither one nor two here. Look at the next one. GST subsumes all the taxes at 3 levels, or you can say GST subsumes the taxes at all the 3 levels. That means at the central level, state level, as well as local body level. Absolutely correct. Some of the taxes at the local body level have already been subsumed by GST. Right, friends? All the petroleum based consumer products are out of purview of GST. Absolutely wrong. Some of the petroleum based products are within GST, and some of them, like petrol, diesel, are out of the purview of GST. Right, friends? Second statement, please correct it. GST architecture subsumes more and more taxes. That means when the GST architecture subsumes more and more taxes, then it may lead to increase in Indian exports. Absolutely correct statement. I would like to explain you. When GST subsumes more and more taxes, then what happens? The hidden taxes, or you can say embedded taxes are making the businesses uncompetitive in the global arena. So when more and more taxes are subsumed by GST, because GST architecture has got a beautiful trait of input tax credit, right? So because of input tax credit, tax on tax is eliminated. So under these circumstances, when more and more taxes are subsumed by GST architecture, tax on tax will be reduced, embedded taxes will be reduced, Indian exports will become globally competitive because of reduction in the embedded taxes. When electricity, when petrol, when diesel are brought under GST, embedded taxes will be reduced. Because of that, global competitiveness of Indian industry will increase. Right, friends? 1 and 3 statements are correct here. Look at the next one about chytridiomycosis. It is in fact wiping out number of amphibian species across the globe. It is wiping out certain species of amphibians. It affects the skin of the amphibians. If you look at the frog, skin is in fact meant for number of its applications, and because of this disease which is affecting the skin of the amphibians, it is resulting into electrolyte imbalance, and subsequently the amphibian is dying. Races of amphibians, species of amphibians are being affected across the globe. Please don't forget, this is chytridiomycosis. This is the fungal disease that primarily affects amphibians. Example is frogs is amphibian, which live on soil and water. That is amphibian. Please don't forget, right? And Candida auris, please don't forget. Certain names are circulating in recent times. Candida auris, that is the fungal disease, and it is showing resistance to several antifungal drugs. And please don't forget, that is primarily because of hospital hygiene, or you can say lack of hospital hygiene. So friends, Candida auris, that is spreading, that fungus is affecting human beings across the globe, including India. Please don't forget about Candida auris, right? And that is affecting number of patients who are bedridden in the hospitals. Hospital hygiene is most important to prevent Candida auris, right? So please don't forget about Candida auris. It is showing resistance to several antifungal drugs, right? And here, chytridiomycosis, please don't forget, and please correct the second one here. It is affecting amphibian biodiversity because several species are affected, and it is primarily affecting in the colder climates, right? And the amphibians in the colder climate are affected more than the warmer climates, right friends? One only is correct here. I told you about two things. One is chytridiomycosis. The second one which I talked about is with regard to Candida auris. Please don't forget, hospital hygiene is very important. Otherwise, patients, when they are bedridden, they will be affected by Candida auris, right? And fall armyworm, that is threatening number of crops in our country. Please don't forget, it is the maize pest, and it is affecting number of other crops. Fall armyworm, that is threatening the globe, right? It came from North America and it affected several countries in Africa, and now it is threatening number of countries including India. It is affecting number of other crops also, right? Here Ayushman Bharat. And friends, first statement, please keep it in mind, qualitative primary health care. Primary health care is the prerequisite for ensuring this universal health coverage. That's why friends, government is giving emphasis on 1.5 lakh health and wellness centers. Please don't forget. Second statement, with the implementation of Ayushman Bharat, the goal of universal health coverage could be achieved is wrong. India will be moving towards universal health coverage is the right statement. With Ayushman Bharat, 100% universal health coverage cannot be achieved, but it is the goal in that direction, right? Majority of the states, please correct the third statement. There are two models. One is trust-based model, that is pooling up the subsidy. Trust-based model is one model. Insurance model is other model. And please don't forget, most of the states are in fact following trust-based model than insurance-based model, right? Please correct it. Some of the states are following mixed model, but please correct the third statement. Majority of the states are following trust-based model than insurance-based model. Trust-based model is nothing but pooling up a subsidy from center and the states and using that money, right friends? Here one only is correct. Look at the next one. The population of reindeer. The population of reindeer during the past 2 decades has vanished by more than half in the Arctic region, and climate change is considered as one of the reasons. Then the gender diversity of olive ridley turtles, right? Here, in fact, the important aspect to note is olive ridley turtles, their gender diversity can be affected when the temperature is high, because they are incubated with the heat of the sand. With the heat of the sand, the incubation of olive ridley turtles takes place, and when the heat of the sand is more, then it leads to more females than males. So friends, the gender diversity of olive ridley turtles is affected because of climate change, and the population of polar bear, that will be affected when the ice is reduced. They may not be able to catch hold of seals, right friends? There are number of aspects. Such type of things are important from your prelims perspective. All of the above, and please don't forget reindeer, alligator turtles, polar bear, and these are being affected due to the climate change. Right. Look at the next one. The recommendations of the Supreme Court Collegium are binding on the government. Right. How to view this statement? Suppose Supreme Court Collegium that sent recommendations to the government, right? So government need not accept at the first instance, and here it can send it back to Collegium for reconsideration. Once the Collegium sends back the reconsidered recommendations, then it becomes binding on the government. So I explained you in detail, and in this context the first statement becomes wrong. The recommendations of the Supreme Court Collegium are binding on the government in the sense the government can send back for reconsideration, and if they send back after reconsideration, then government is bound to accept. But one important tool in the hands of the government is government can delay, right? No one can question that. In some cases, government delayed for months. Right. Chief Justice of India is not a public authority under the RTI Act. Case is going on in the Supreme Court. Right. Under the RTI Act, Chief Justice of India should be brought under the public authority that is going on in the Supreme Court, and at present Chief Justice is not public authority. Right, friends? Both are wrong here. Then following statements about China and India. China completed 40 years of economic reforms. India completed 25 years of economic reforms. In this context, such type of question is expected. First statement, both are consumption driven economies, absolutely wrong. Second, for both the countries, investment rate is generally higher than the savings rate, absolutely wrong. If you look at China, China's savings rate is higher than investment rate, whereas for India, investment rate is higher than the savings rate. Friends, second statement is wrong. After liberalization, China has seen higher growth rates than India, absolutely correct, for around quarter century, right from almost 1980. For around quarter century, China has grown at an average growth rate of 10%. Right, friends? 3 only is correct here. Then Finance Commission. The government can set the terms of reference for the Finance Commission. This is parliamentary legislation is not required. Right? So the government can set the terms of reference for the Finance Commission on its own without taking the approval of Parliament. Friends, please correct the first statement. Second statement, in addition to Finance Commission recommendations through Article 280, the government can make any other grants for public purpose to the states. Absolutely correct. That means there are other routes available for the center. In addition to Finance Commission recommendations, the center can make other grants for the public purpose. And please correct the third statement. When such type of grants or transfers are being made by the center, the matter can be within the purview of union list, concurrent list, or the state list. So friends, other than Finance Commission transfers, center can make other transfers to the states. Center can make other transfers even though the matter is within the union list or concurrent list or state list. Right, friends? Here 2 only is correct. Please correct first and third statements. And the fundamental point one should not miss is the government can set the terms of reference for the Finance Commission on its own. Parliamentary legislation is not required. And other than Finance Commission, center can ensure transfers to the states. And this can happen whether the matter is under the union list or concurrent list or state list. Right, friends? Look at the next one. Unified payment interface. And I would like to discuss this in the economy revision module also, because you can expect a question on unified payment interface, digital wallets, as well as BHIM. Right, friends? Students should have clarity about these 3. and it is mobile only platform, absolutely correct. It links multiple bank accounts through a single app, absolutely correct. And UPI transactions are used for debiting money only from the bank accounts. Very important. UPI transactions are used for debiting money only from the bank accounts. They can debit money only from bank accounts but not from digital wallets. And as they are debiting only money from the bank accounts, KYC is not required. Friends, 1 and 3, look at the next one, quarter century of economic reforms. Here the question is, which of the above cannot be considered as success stories? All these are not success stories as far as 25 years of liberalization is concerned. Manufacturing as percentage of GDP, almost same, at that time 16%, now also it is around 17%, not much improvement. Second, privatization of public sector undertakings, not much improvement. Then R&D investments by the private sector, it is not a success story, though they improved slightly, you cannot call it success story. R&D investments in agricultural sector, abysmal story as far as agriculture is concerned. Friends, all four cannot be considered as success stories, and there are number of success stories. We will deliberate in some other class. Then small finance banks, look at the statements, and these points are important. Please don't forget, for small finance banks the capital is rupees 100 crore. Second is, they have to maintain higher capital adequacy ratio than universal banks. Third important point is, they emerged primarily from non-deposit taking NBFCs and microfinance institutions, absolutely correct. 75% they have to lend to the priority sector, absolutely correct. 50% of the loans should be up to the value of rupees 25 lakh, or you can say total loans, if you see, 50% of the loans should be up to the value of rupees 25 lakh. That means whatever they are lending, 50% should be small loans. Right, friends? Please don't forget these figures. 50%, 75%, 100 crores, capital adequacy ratio of 15%, which is higher than the universal banks. All three statements are correct here. Rooftop solar power plants, it is abysmal failure in the solar power environment or solar power ecosystem. In India, we failed miserably in the rooftop solar power plants. Please correct the first statement. Then please don't forget the photovoltaic modules. They account for about half of the total expenses in the rooftop solar power plant. Absolutely correct. Photovoltaics, they constitute around 50%. Then net metering. Quite often you talk about net metering. What is the meaning of net metering? Net metering facilitates selling excess power to discoms. Let us assume I installed this rooftop solar on my house. If some excess power is there, I can sell it to the grid. Net metering allows it. Friends, 2 and 3 are correct here. Then please remember, such type of questions are expected. One is World Press Freedom Index released by Reporters Without Borders. Then this Democracy Index. This is Economist Intelligence Unit, London based. Friends, many of you may not aware about Human Capital Index, and this is released by World Bank. All of the above, such type of things are important from your exam perspective. Identify the ports marked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are into the news. Students should have clarity about these. First port, this is Gyakpu in Myanmar. This is being developed by China. Right, 2 is Hambantota in Sri Lanka, and this is into the news because China got 99-year lease from Sri Lanka. Then 3, Saban Port. India and Indonesia are going to develop Saban Port, and the location of Saban Port is very important. That is at the strategic location right? That is on way to Malacca Strait. Please don't forget, it is at the strategic location. It is of Indonesia. India and Indonesia are going to develop Saban Port. Then friends, for Bandar Abbas Port, see the location of Bandar Abbas Port, and it is the port which will be used for INSTC. Very important, for INSTC, Bandar Abbas Port will be used. Then 5, Chabahar Port, or you can say Shahid Beheshti Port. Friends, such type of questions are asked in the examination. Friends, such type of questions can be asked in the examination. Look at the next one. Consider the following statements. Fair and remunerative price. This is in the context of sugarcane. This is the legal price which the sugar mills are required to pay. Absolutely correct. This is the legal price guaranteed by the center which sugar mills are required to pay. Then there is no relation between fair and remunerative price and the price of sugar in the open market. Absolutely correct. That is the real problem in the sugar sector, right? India allows conversion of sugar cane juice directly into ethanol. Absolutely correct. The policy decision was taken recently. Friends, India allows conversion of sugar cane juice directly into ethanol, and this commands higher price than conversion of ethanol from molasses. Right friends, absolutely correct. So all the 3 statements are correct here. Friends, most important development last year, India allowed conversion of sugarcane juice directly, sugarcane juice, instead of converting it into sugar. Why this decision is taken? This decision is taken because of the glut in the sugar produce. Right? India allows conversion of sugarcane juice directly into ethanol. So, if the mills are doing it, it commands higher price than conversion of ethanol from molasses. So, if the ethanol is manufactured in this way, it commands higher price. This is the important point to note, right? So, all of the above. Then, FAME 2, most important. We will deliberate this in the policies and programs, and most important, it contributes to energy security of the nation. Absolutely correct. This is indirect statement. With the promotion of FAME, electric vehicles will be propelled, and because of that what happens? The internal combustion engines vehicles will be reduced, and because of that it will reduce the usage of petroleum products. So therefore it will lead to energy security of the nation. Then it gives incentives only for lithium ion batteries. Absolutely correct. It is not giving any incentives for lead acid batteries. It prioritizes personal cars over the commercial vehicles. Absolutely wrong. It prioritizes commercial vehicles over personal cars. Absolutely wrong statement is given here. Please correct it. In fact, it is not giving incentives for personal cars. Right friends, 1 and 2 are correct here. Look at the next one, uranium contamination. This is into the news. Rajasthan is the most affected state as per the news report, and uranium is not part of the drinking water standards prescribed by Bureau of Indian Standards. Absolutely correct. In our country, there is no drinking water standard prescribing this much uranium can be there, cannot be there. Right friends, over exploitation of groundwater can be one of the reasons due to which oxidation conditions are occurring. Right friends, this is the probable reason because nothing crystal clear came out of it. Friends, all of the above are correct. Friends, all of the above are correct. Then which of the following is mainly responsible for PM 2.5 pollution? Right friends, in India, around 35% of PM 2.5 pollution is primarily due to vehicles, or you can say vehicular pollution is primarily responsible for PM 2.5 in our country. Right? Then minimum support price mechanism. Quite often you come across minimum support prices right here. It is leading to the supply glut of some agricultural products. Absolutely correct. Because of minimum support prices, because of some procurement mechanism for some of the commodities, it is leading to supply glut of some agricultural products. It is resulting in skewed water usage. Absolutely correct. Right? And MSPs are demand driven. Absolutely wrong. They are not demand driven. Right? For several crops, MSPs are just indicative in nature. Friends, in the absence of any procurement mechanism for majority of the crops, actually farmers are not able to realize these minimum support prices for various crops. That's why it is mentioned they are just indicative. That means some signal for majority of the crops, nothing more than that. So friends, here 1, 2 and 4 are the right statements. They are not demand driven. This is the important point to note. Swachh Bharat Mission, people talk about Swachhagrahis. Swachhagrahis are the foot soldiers in Swachh Bharat Mission. They can be men or women. Please correct the first statement. And second statement, they are engaged by District Water Sanitation Committee on the recommendations of Gram Panchayat. Absolutely correct. They are volunteers and are not paid any incentives. Absolutely wrong. The Swachh Bharat Mission circular says they should be provided with incentives by the states. Friends, 2 only is correct here. Then methane and nitrous oxide. Friends, this type of things are very important from your examination perspective. And with regard to greenhouse gases, I will cover in the ecology and environment lecture in detail about various greenhouse gases which are into the news. And methane has got higher global warming potential than nitrous oxide is wrong. Nitrous oxide has got higher greenhouse gas potential than methane. Both the gases, once released, stay in the atmosphere for more than 100 years is absolutely wrong. In fact, the longevity of nitrous oxide is much higher than methane, right? The time period for calculating the global warming potentials is normally considered 100 years. Absolutely correct. Friends, 3 only. And to understand this, one should have clarity about greenhouse warming potential, or you can say global warming potential. We will discuss in the ecology class, right? National Company Law Tribunal. Quite often we come across National Company Law Tribunal. Please do not forget, it is established based on Companies Act. Please correct the first one. It is the adjudicating authority for the corporate sector. Absolutely correct. Third statement, the parties cannot withdraw once the matter is referred to NCLT. Absolutely wrong. But it requires certain percentage of voting by the committee of creditors. Probably it is 90%. If 90% of committee of creditors decide, then it can be withdrawn. Friends, 2 only is correct here. Then the real interest rates in emerging economies. Real interest rates, if you see here, they are normally higher than those in advanced economies. Absolutely correct, right? So if you look at India, the real interest rates are on the increasing trend. Absolutely correct. So both the statements are correct. The real interest rates in emerging economies are normally higher than those in the advanced economies. Absolutely correct. And in recent times, the real interest rates in India are on the increasing trend. Why? Because there is a drastic fall in the inflation. Interest rate minus inflation, that is real interest rate. And interest rates have fallen nominally, or you can say interest rates have not fallen to that extent as the fall in inflation, or you can say the fall in inflation is steeper than the fall in the interest rates. Because of that, in recent times, the real interest rates in India are on the increasing trend. Absolutely correct. Look at the next one about National SCST Hub. Please don't forget, National SCST Hub is basically started by the Ministry of Small and Micro Enterprises, or you can say MSME Ministry. So MSME Ministry is behind National SCST Hub. The primary objective is not financial incentives. Basically to promote SC/ST entrepreneurs it gives some sort of facilitating mechanism, not the financial incentives, right? Please correct the second one also. So friends, neither one nor two. Then look at the next one about coffee cultivation in our country. India is the only country in the world where entire coffee cultivation is grown under shade. Absolutely correct. India produces more of Robusta variety than Arabica, but Arabica commands more price than Robusta. Please correct the third statement. 1 and 2 are correct here. Then freedom of speech and expression. Sometimes such type of question may be asked because in recent times freedom of speech and expression is quite often in the news. Right to know, right to freedom of press, right to know most important. Then right to fly the national flag. Then right to self-development. These are all part of freedom of speech and expression. So please don't forget right to know, right to freedom of press, right to fly the national flag, right to self-development. These are all part of the freedom of speech and expression. G7 group of industrialized nations. In fact, at present, they account for less than 50% of global GDP. Around 2 decades ago, they constituted around 70% or so of global GDP. They came down, right? That reduced by around 15 to 20%, right friends? Here at present they account for less than 50% of global GDP. During the past 2 decades, their share of global GDP in percentage terms has fallen substantially. Absolutely correct. And all the G7 economies are now within global top 10 from the perspective of nominal GDP. Absolutely correct. All G7 economies are in the global top 10, no doubt about it, but their share in the global GDP fallen substantially during the past 2 decades. Please don't forget. Then comprehensive costs in the methodology for the calculation of agricultural produce costs. First statement, you talk about imputed family labor. Imputed family labor is for the skill and entrepreneurship of the farming family. Most important, it is the mechanism where the valuation is done for the skill and entrepreneurship for raising the crops. That is not minimum wages. It is for the skill and entrepreneurship. That's why it is called imputed family labor. Please look at it. Please correct the first statement. Government announced minimum support prices at a minimum of 50% over A2 plus FL. Most of you are well aware. So both the statements are wrong here. After learning about comprehensive costs, let us look at the next question. This is pertaining to prompt corrective action framework. And please don't forget, this is also applicable for regional rural banks. Absolutely correct. And the second statement, please correct it. It is monitored by NABARD, not RBI. Third important statement, the risk thresholds for both universal banks and regional rural banks are one and the same. Absolutely wrong. The risk thresholds for universal banks and regional rural banks are not one and the same. They are different. Friends, in this question, please look at the question. The question says, which of the above are incorrect? Here is the catch. So friends, the question asked is, which of the above is or incorrect? So 2 and 3 are incorrect here, right? Sometimes please look for such type of catches in the examination. Look at the last question about small savings schemes. The interest rates on small savings schemes are normally higher than the fixed deposit interest rates in the banking system. Absolutely correct. And because of this, sometimes banks are finding difficult to attract fixed deposits. Right friends? For small savings schemes in general, the interest rates are higher than the fixed deposit interest rates in the banking system. Second statement, among the small savings schemes, the highest interest rate is offered for senior citizen savings scheme. Please correct the second statement. One only is correct here. Right friends, this concludes today's discussion of the mock test paper. This is part 1 of the discussion. We discussed about 36 questions which were framed by me. Right friends, this concludes today's live discussion. Have a nice day. Thank you.